Our site is nearly done. There are a few things we should do to tighten the integration with PayPal, but we'll need to deploy the site to our production server before we can put those in place. Let's finish those up so we can launch the site before Mike gets back from the printer. Log into your PayPal account. Click on My Account, then Profile, then My Selling Tools. We'll want to change 2 items under Selling Online. In the first one, Custom Payment Pages, we can add our logo to the PayPal checkout page. I included the logo in the project files back at the beginning of the project, and I have it on my local web server here. You can see it in your htdocs directory in the IMG folder. The other item we want to change is under Website Preferences. PayPal can redirect our customers back to our site automatically after their transaction is complete. We'll need to specify a web address here to a page on our site where they should get redirected. This is a new page that we'll need to create on our site. PayPal is pretty strict about what should appear on this page, so I'll copy the example text from here, and we can use that. Open up your htdocs directory in your text editor. Let's add a new confirmation page called receipt.php. We'll use the same approach for this page as we have all the other pages, starting with variables called page title and section. I'll set the section variable to none because we don't need any link underlined in the main navigation. Then I'll include the header file. I'll set up the necessary HTML wrapper divs for the page structure. Then I'll include the footer. Inside the page structure here, I'll create an H1 with the page title. Then I'll add a paragraph with the example text from PayPal. We'll need to be sure to make this web address a link to PayPal. Let's add another paragraph below this one. It may be a bit optimistic to hope they'll order even more shirts at this point, but the customer needs somewhere to go from here. We might as well link them back to the shirts listing page. Let's take a look at this page in the browser. We won't link to this page directly on our website, but we will redirect customers from PayPal here after they complete a transaction. There's one more thing we need to add to our code before we deploy the site. The View Cart link here still has a hash sign instead of the real link. We'll need to get the code for that link from PayPal. It's a little bit tricky to find, but it's under My Selling Tools, PayPal buttons. Find one of our product buttons and click View Code. This is the code for the Add to Cart button here. If you scroll down though, you'll see a link to get the code for the View Cart link. PayPal encrypts this code by default, but you can click on Remove Code Protection to see how it works. Let me copy this code and paste it in a new temporary file where I can work with it. You should recognize most of this code, a form with a method of post and some hidden fields. When someone clicks on this button, it will submit the form and make these values available to the PayPal website as post variables. I would have much rather it be a simple HTML link, but an HTML link can only send values like this as get variables in the web address, not as post variables. I did some experimenting though, and I found that the PayPal View Cart page will actually work with these values in either post or get variables. I was quite surprised by that. Let's turn this form into a simple link. A link starts with an anchor tag. We'll keep the target the same so it launches in a new tab or window. The web address for the link goes in the href attribute, and we want to link to the same web address that this form would have submitted to. We can now change these 3 hidden input fields into get variables by adding them to the web address. The first one has a name of CMD, short for command, I think. We can set it equal to the value attribute, which in this case is _cart. You can add multiple get variables to the web address with an ampersand. You use a question mark after the web address for the first variable and then ampersands after each additional variable. The next variable has a name of business. That should be equal to the value attribute on that hidden input field. One more ampersand and one more variable. This one has a name of display. And a value of 1. We end the href attribute with a quotation mark, and we end the anchor tag with a greater than sign. That link should now open the View Cart page in a new tab or window. Let's copy that anchor tag to our header file. We'll replace that existing anchor tag with just a hash sign for the link. With ampersands in web addresses and HTML files, it's always a good idea to escape the ampersands like this. Let's save this file and go back to the browser. Refresh this page, and the View Cart link will now open our shopping cart in a new tab. We have the receipt.php file and the logo here on our local server, but no one else can access my site right now at the web address localhost. That's reserved for your own computer, and someone on a different computer would not be able to access it. If we want other people to see our logo, we'll have to put it on a web server at a public web address. Let's do that now. I have already registered my domain name, shirtsformike.com, and set up a hosting account for the site. I'm now ready to FTP the files from my computer to that hosting account. I won't cover those 3 items in detail here. If you're uncertain about any of them, I recommend you revisit the Launching the Website badge over in Website Waters. I've included a link below in the notes for this video. Nick recommended the FTP client CyberDuck. That works perfectly fine, but there are plenty of other clients available. My personal favorite for Mac OS X is Transmit from Panic. I have Transmit open here, and I've connected it to my web hosting account. I will transfer my files up there now. Once that's done, I'll switch over to the browser and visit shirtsformike.com. Let's click around here to make sure that everything is in order. It looks like shirts are getting added to the PayPal cart successfully. The View Cart link is also working. We'll test the full checkout process at the very end of the project after we finish the PayPal configuration. Be sure to test the contact form and make sure you receive emails from it. If the form is not configured correctly, a potential customer may be frustrated waiting for a response to an email you never received. I actually recommend testing your contact form on a regular basis just to make sure everything is in order. There's a good chance this form will work with your web host using the simple PHP mailer configuration we covered earlier. That configuration doesn't work for me. Instead, I'll need to modify my code to send email using SMTP and a third-party mail server, as I mentioned before. I have included a link in the notes on this video to my post on the Treehouse blog that covers this technique. After I do that, I'll re-upload my contact.php file and we'll be ready to finish the configuration over at PayPal.